All right, here we go. Roll the video.
From DNN Enterprise, Mr. Steven Gerhardt.
You know, I have tried to instill in my children that it's important to set goals. You might not reach them today, you might not reach them tomorrow, it might take years. But if you keep working at it, and someday you will achieve that goal.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've known this guy for a long, long time, long before I was ever at Intelisys, and to see the business that he's built has been a phenomenal thing. He was once called Joe Agent on the cover of Channel Partners magazine. He is family for this community, and today he's going to share with you some of the thoughts in his mind about how to build a world-class business and how he has done it and how he wants you guys to do the same. Please give it up for Mr. Steve Gerhardt.
Woo. Wow. I want a little fireball so I can get myself calmed down.
There you go. That's the big green arrow.
You know, last year, after Channel Connect, I called Andrew and they said, you guys are missing one thing, a peer-to-peer session, someone who's in the trenches, who could speak the same language. He said, you always have a moderator, like a go-between. I said, we need to have somebody who's willing to talk the talk. It's called Straight How It Is, and that's how Straight Talk came about. So I want to thank Intelisys for allowing me to give me this platform. If you have any questions at any time, just ask me. As I always say, my life's an open book. I'll tell you whatever on my mind, good, bad, or indifferent. But the one thing I really want to see today is that when I go to a meeting or something, if I could just learn one thing and bring it back to my business to make me more successful, if you guys can learn one thing from me, then this time with you invest in me, it's all good. So with that, I know we all came into this channel different ways. I'll tell you how I got into the channel. I worked for a carrier, and my boss swore to me that if we were having a problem, because back in 2001, all the carriers were filing for bankruptcy. He goes, Steve, I swear to you, I'll always let you know, give you advance notice. So back in April of 2001, my boss walks into my office, and I go, that can't be good. His office is 50 miles away from mine. So he comes into my office, he goes, Steve, we're shutting down North America. And I go, okay, when? He says, effective immediately. And I said, you motherfucker. I said, you son of a bitch. You swore to me that you'd give me, oh, I couldn't. But I realized at that moment, right then and there, that corporate America failed me. I will never let my family or my future in somebody else's hands. I'll never put it in someone else's hands. I had 2 kids under the age of 3. And I said, I believed in myself. I knew that I had a good work ethic. So I started with $500 and 2 phones on my desk. I worked out of a bedroom out of my house. It was 10 by 10, barely could put 2 chairs in there. And I called it Suite 200 because it's on the 2nd floor of my house. And it was funny when people would come visit me, they would say, Steve, I'm not sure if I'm at the right place. I go, I get the end of the cul-de-sac? He goes, yeah. I go, yep, that's my house, come on in. But, so I knew very little about the agent channel. And my friend called me and said, you should talk to this guy named Rick. He works for a company called Intelisys. And I go, how do you spell that? You know, like, so I called Rick. I swear to you, it was the phone call that changed my life forever. I didn't even know how to do an attachment to an email when I first started, and Rick showed me how to do that. But in a true story. But he opened my eyes to this whole entire channel, and I realized at that moment that I'm going to have a lot of success. And that I'm very grateful to him and the whole entire Intelisys team, because I don't think I would have the success I have today if I was with somebody else. So with that, I decided to start D&M with, like I said, with the $500. And last year, I sold over $800,000 in new business. And then this year, I'm around $600,000. So I tell people, I must be doing something right. Let me share my thoughts, and hopefully you guys can learn a couple things from me. And at any time, just stop, ask me any question, and we'll see where this goes. But there's 10 things to my success that Andrew refers to it as. Wow, look at that. 10 ingredients to my success, thank you. And I just live and breathe this whole telecom thing. And I believe that if you have a strong work ethic and you practice what you preach, then it's all gonna come together. So I'm a customer advocate. I fight harder for my customers than anybody else. I'm sure if all the carriers in this room, they will tell you, I've yelled at them, I've cursed at them, I've told them all off, because I don't care about the carriers, I care about my customer. My customer is the most important thing to me. I will go above and beyond to do anything to help my customer out. We're advocates, that's what we do. Because the regular carrier, the direct people, they don't care, but we care because our business is very sticky. And our customers stay with us. What does an advocate do? An advocate knows the maze of telecom. We don't just make a phone call to somebody and say, oh, I called the carrier, I'm waiting for them to get back to me. We follow the path, we get to the next person, get whatever it is. If it's a trouble, or it's a new install or something, that's what we do. We fight harder than everybody else. What does an advocate do? I was working with a company called Lehman Brothers. We all heard Lehman Brothers, remember they filed for bankruptcy? Well, they also had these other divisions. There was a mortgage company called Aurora, a very big company. When they filed for bankruptcy, Aurora had to break away from Lehman, and they had to move out of buildings. $300,000 a month biller, great opportunity. But the one thing they had to do was get services installed within 2 weeks. They moved into a building that's been vacant for like 10 years. There was no facilities at the building. What does an advocate do? The advocate gets the carrier to place the order, to give you the order, the LEC order number, to call the LEC, to get in touch with the person who's in charge of the LEC for the whole entire area, and to make a long story short, be on the phone with the guy who's boring into the building on the weekend to get the services installed, to having AT&T run fiber on a Saturday. That's what an advocate does. And I know Tim's in here, and it was for his company, and it took me 2 weeks to put in PRIs, internet, and all that, and that's what an advocate does. We go above and beyond than what anybody else does. Everyone who works for me is an advocate for all of our customers. It's so important that you fight for your customers and push back on the carriers. Don't accept we're working on it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, shouldn't work for you. An LOA and do not auto-renew a letter. Who uses an LOA for their customers? If you're not using an LOA, one of the biggest mistakes ever, letter of authorization. It basically gives you the license to drive all the business to you. The LOA allows you to call the current carrier that they have today and find out everything that they have, what kind of services they have, when the contracts are up. Because when you do business with D&M, once we do one thing, we're going to get all your business. So it's important to get your customers to sign the LOA. It allows you to talk to the carriers. Also, the do not auto-renew clause. If you're not sending this over to your customers to send to the existing carriers, you're not protecting the business that you're trying to get. I know when I talk to a customer that while I'm on the very first call, I'm sending them the LOA, and then I get that back, I get all their invoices, I figure out what's going on, I start to create a database of all their services because we become the trusted advisor. And then once I see what he has, and I send out these do not auto-renew letters to every single carrier. Why? Because we know one thing, from 3 years from this moment, I'm going to have all that business. Because most contracts are 3 years. And if a customer's willing to talk to you, they're probably maybe a year left on that service. But eventually, all that business will come to you. So you're gonna stop where it is, putting the carriers on notice. If you don't do that LOA, you're losing so much business. It's so important to do that. If you need a copy of it, I'll have Intellisys send you all one. Thank you. Whoever did that, thank you. Buy just one thing. I tell everyone who works for me that all we need as our customers to do is buy one thing from us, just one thing. Why? Because that level of service, that customer experience is gonna be totally different than what they're getting directly from the carrier. Because we all can agree, Our competitors are the direct team, not everybody in this room. At the end of the day, we're all on the same team. We're on the agent channel team. Our competitors or the enemies or whatever, it's a direct team because we don't really run into each other when we're trying to do business. Because if that was the case, we could partner up together and get all the business. So we're fighting the direct team. So when our customers are buying one thing, we do something more special than the direct team does because they're horrible. They're terrible. The direct, we can all agree. The direct team is terrible. It's just, so, and they're going to get the experience of us and you and how we all do things is that we give them a certain nature. That's my phone ringing. It's all good though. But it's real important that once they buy that one thing, they get a new flavor of how you do things. You follow up. You keep everyone organized. It's so important that you keep your customers organized. That's your job. Your job is to make your customer's life a lot easier. If you make their life easier, then that means one thing. They're going to keep giving you more business. So just buying one thing from somebody will say, hey, we got the install done sooner. We also were able to keep letting everyone know when the techs are going to show up. We kind of take that off their plate and make their life a lot easier. Proposals. When you do a proposal, never, ever forward the carrier's paperwork over to the customer. Because if that's the case, when you get that proposal and you forward it right to the carrier, you might as well just work for that carrier. Remember, you're working for yourself. You're building your own brand. Every time I get a proposal, it goes on D&M letterhead. Every time. The carrier, well, it's a line on a spreadsheet. What our customers are buying from us is us. It's so important. And then when you make the proposals, make it so it's easy when they print, they can hit print and it's perfect. Because how many times do we get these spreadsheets and you go to hit print and it's something like 3 pages long because they haven't condensed it to make it easier. The whole thing is everything you're trying to do when you're working with the carriers is you make make their life easier. If you make someone's life easier, they're going to love you. You're basically doing their job for them. So when you're doing the proposals, make sure it's more than one carrier. Never just sell a customer or send a customer one carrier. Because remember, we're working for ourselves. We're not working for that carrier. So you're a consultant. Our job is to consult the customer, be that trusted advisor, give them multiple carriers. So let them choose. We all know which carriers are good and which carriers are bad. I mean, at the end of the day, they all suck. They all do. How many times do we say, who sucks the least today? We've all said it. At the end of the day, is that we don't work for the carriers. We work for ourselves. So make sure when you're selling that, when you're doing that proposal, you're selling yourself, not that carrier. Next slide. Perfect. That's awesome. Customer paperwork. All of our customers, we do all the paperwork. Never send a customer blank paperwork. I mean, how many times have you sent blank paperwork to a customer and you're waiting for them to fill it out? Remember, your job is to make your customer's life easier. All of our customers, we fill out everything. The only thing they need to do is sign it. That's it. That's the most important thing. Oh, and when you're filling out that paperwork, this is the most important thing. Make yourself the primary contact for every order. If you're not doing that, Comcast, Time Warner Cable, all the cable companies are stealing your business. How do I know that? Because I get a call at least once or twice a week from, hey, I'm your Comcast representative. And they're calling because they're looking at the orders. They're trying to upsell your customer. And I tell them the same thing. We only do business with the channel. Remove me from your phone call list and don't send me any more emails. Do not contact. So what you're doing is you're protecting your business. You're keeping the direct people away from the customer. And I'm telling you, if you don't make yourself the primary contact, they are calling every one of your customers. I get that call all the time. And I get those emails as well. It's the most important thing when you're filling out that paperwork. Fill it all out, just sign it and send it back. And then also when you get everything back and you got to make sure you get that countersigned paperwork and forward it back to the customer. It's so important to keep in touch with the customer at all times. We're in a relationship business. You know, our customers call us for everything. If it's a MACD, trouble ticket, just want to know about a product or service, I want them to call me for everything. Is it a lot of work? Absolutely. I don't want my customers even interacting with the carriers. And the reason for that is I don't want them to build a relationship with anyone at the carrier. As I always say, when there's two people in an elevator and Bob says to Tom, hey, who do you use for voice, data, cloud? I don't want them saying AT&T, Verizon, Windstream, or whoever. I want them to say, hey, call this guy Steve Gerhardt, D&M. Your company, that's what you're promoting, not the carrier. So when the customer has a question or concern, you don't want them to call the carrier, have them call you. Have them think of you as that one resource. I could tell you when I first started, when I was in that Suite 200, when I first started, like I said, I told you I had 2 phones on my desk. I used to always answer the phone, sales, how can I help you? And one day, I go, sales, how can I help you? And the guy goes, customer service. Now, I'm in a room that's 10 by 10, just by myself. I go, hold on, please. I hit hold. I grab the other phone. I go, customer service, how can I help you? At that moment, I realized one thing. I need to be the one call for every customer. Because they call me for everything, I can protect my business, I can grow my business, and I could use that as a networking tool because when our customers have a problem, and they call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they'll say, hey, I'm sorry I bother you. I say, dude, I'd rather you be calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning because that means we're doing business. If you're not calling me, that means we're not doing business anymore. So I welcome every one of those calls. I don't care, call me anytime. I always tell people, if it's important to you, it's important to me, I will take care of it. If I have to get on the phone with somebody myself, I will make it a priority for somebody else. The one thing that we are in the relationship business. That's what we do. My friends are my customers. My customers are my friends. When my friend has a problem, when your friends have a problem, right, you want to be there for your friends, right? Right? Right. So the whole thing is this, is that when my friends have a problem, it's my responsibility to take care, help them out. Just like when my friend goes from one company to another, friends will not leave you. They will always stay with you. You need to build a relationship with people. You can't build a relationship via email. You got to pick up that phone and talk to people. We're in the communication industry, and half the people in this room don't even know how to communicate. Call people, stop emailing, build friendships. When you're talking to people, just tell them a little bit about yourself. I know Deller told some egg story, breakfast story, something like that. But, his whole thing was about, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk. We're going to get to know each other. My life's an open book with all my customers. I tell them everything that's going on in my life because I'm a part of their life. They're a part of my life. We're in a relationship business. And friends will always stay with you. And then when you're building a relationship with your CIO, CTO, you also need to build a relationship with everybody else in that whole entire chain of command. The third guy in charge, the fourth guy, fifth guy. Why? Because when the CIO leaves, what's going to happen next? The second guy in charge is to become the CIO. Or that second guy in charge is going to go become a CIO someplace else. All of my business is referrals. I don't cold call. I don't telemarket. Like I said, last year I did over $800,000 in new business. This year, over $600,000 in new business. Because I build relationships, provide a certain level of service to people, and I care. I care more than my customers care. I'm telling you right now. I care more than they do. You know why? The best thing about it is my customers know I care that much that they don't have to worry about it. It's so important. I look at it this way, and I view it this way. In your office, if your internet was down or your phone service was down, you'd be flipping out because you're out of business. When my customer service is down, I'm flipping out because it's my business. It's my friend's business. I take that kind of passion when my customer has a problem. I don't believe in holding. There is no, we'll call you back. I'll hold on. Get somebody right now. It's so important that you fight for your customers and make sure that the carriers are taken care of. Because how many times we're on the phone with somebody say, we'll call you right back. They don't call back. The carriers don't give a shit. They really don't. We care more than they do. It's so important that you need to get the carriers to care. You need to build a relationship inside the carrier as well as you do with your customers. It's so important to know who to call. I have a great Rolodex. I got CEOs who know who I am because my customers mean that important to me. If I can't get the right person on the phone, I will go over everybody's head. I don't care. I don't care what it means to them that they're going to get in trouble. Take care of my shit and we can move forward. It's the most important thing. Our job is to get the carriers to take care of our stuff first. They've got 100 things to do all day, every day. So you're fighting for them to take care of those little things of your business. I tell the carriers point blank, if I call, I expect you to take care of it right away. If you don't take care of it right away, I don't do business with you. See, we can choose who we want to give business to. And if they're not going to play within it's our ball. I'm going to take my ball and go home with it. If you're not going to play the way I want you to play, I'm leaving. Don't bother calling me. I'm sure we've all had carriers that we swore we would never do business with them again. I probably got like 10 of them. And I'm not kidding. Because they don't provide a great level of service. You need to hold the carriers accountable. If they say they're going to call you at 12 o'clock, at 12:01, I guarantee somebody from my office is on the phone asking them where that is. I give them no room. I give them no room at all. I'll let them hang themselves, but I make it very crystal clear. I don't care what's going on in your life. I need you to take care of my things in my time frame, not yours. And I'm telling you that I don't wait. I don't wait for the carriers. I go over everybody's head. I force the carriers to do what we need to do. You have to force them. If they're not going to help you out, don't put the business there. I'm sure you could say there's 20 reasons why you put the customer there with that carrier, but I'm sure you could tell the customers there's 100 reasons not to put the business there and put it with somebody else. You choose where you want to put your business. And if the carriers aren't going to help you, don't give them any business. Give it to somebody who cares. There's people in this room that I give business to because I know if I have a call to make, they're going to be there, they're going to answer that phone and take care of what I need. That's what's important. We're in a relationship business. You got to get the people to work for you. I always say I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Matter of fact, I'm probably one of the dumbest guys in the room. But, and I mean this sincerely, I think I work hard. I work very, very hard. I'm in my office by 7, I leave at 7. Some days I'm in at 5 o'clock in the morning and I leave at 10 o'clock at night. Because it goes back to I care. I really do care. I'm very passionate what I do. I might not be the smartest guy in the room, but what makes me smart, I know smart people. I don't have to be smart anymore. I just have to be smart enough to know, oh, SD-WAN, I know this person can do it, and this person really knows what an SD-WAN is. I just call them and have them join on with me. I just know smart people. I don't have to know everything. I just need to know where to go to get it done and who's the best person and the brightest person, whatever product or service it is. There's a couple things that I find that we don't do. And one is that we don't go and reach out to get the right person to help us out. That maybe you'll get a secondary or a third person. Know the best of the best, and call them. Build a relationship with those people. They're the ones who are going to help you grow your business. Like I said, I'm not the smart guy in the room, but I know real smart people. If I have a problem, I know who to call. I don't dial 800 numbers. I call people. I think the other thing that's important about being the smartest guy in the room is that you're always willing to learn. I always learn from other people, and that I learn more by just hearing it done once, then twice, then 3 times, and I figured it all out that, you know what, I don't have to know all this stuff. I know everybody else who does. So it's important to reach out to those people, build a relationship with those smart people. They're going to help you out. In closing, my customers are no different than yours. Sure, I got some really big customers, but customers only want one thing. They want reliable service and somebody to call when there's a problem. It's the most important thing. If you have a problem, you got to know who to call. You have a plumbing problem at your house, you call your plumber. It's a relationship business. You got to make sure that that all the services is working. If there's a problem, it's a question, they know who to call. That's all customers really want. It's not always about price. For me, it's all about providing a certain level of service you can't get anyplace else. We provide our customers, I refer to it as a white glove concierge level of service. And I know half the people in the room have been stealing that from me. Because, oh, we offer a white glove. In my organization, I got 13 support people who support my sales efforts. We provide a certain level of service to customers. So I don't need to be the smart guy in the room. The people who work for me will know who to go to get the right person to help us out all the time. I think this, one of the most important things is, one, protect your business. Keep the direct people out of your business. Keep the direct carriers out of your business. Trust no one but yourselves. Work harder than the other people who are trying to get that business. And last but not least, I appreciate everyone for giving me your time and understanding what I do, is that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I have a pretty big book of business, but the whole thing is because I care. And build a relationship if you care. I'm telling you, you'll have a tremendous amount of success. Does anyone have any questions? No questions? What's my biggest challenge? The carriers. Now, it's my biggest headache. You know, I'll tell you this, the biggest challenge is this, I'm waiting for pricing. We're waiting for pricing for a week? Come on. You know, I'm working on something right now. We're just waiting on the carriers. It's my biggest challenge. It's all of our challenge. And that's why you just have to yell at them just to get the shit done. Now, come on. I told my wife one day that if I die today, I want you to sue this carrier because it's their fault. I swear to God, it's a true story. But, Andrew, that's all I got, my brother. That's
Guys, give it up. Hey, Gerhardt.
Fireball. They care.
Oh, Steve Gerhardt, man, wow, that was awesome. I got a message from Stacy Pompey, our legal counsel. She wanted me to read this. The views of this agent do not necessarily reflect the views of Intellisys. Thank you, Stacy. Recovered? All right, cool.